Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody is happy and healthy, doing well, and is out there exercising. So yeah, today I want to talk about what I sort of consider as the flaw, or maybe even fatal flaw, on Garmin's sport watches today. It hasn't always been that case, so with technology moving forward and competition, including of course competition from Apple and their Apple Watch Ultra, I think this is increasingly becoming a flaw, and one that I think Garmin needs to think seriously about fixing sooner rather than later. And so before we dive in, first of all, I think there are many good things about Garmin watches, obviously, and lots of people love them, and there are good reasons to. There is no other watch out there that does what Garmin does in terms of mapping and navigation and routing and all of that. That's obviously something that's a core capability to them. They have a terrific website where you can see all your data and do analysis. They have 5 buttons, which is terrific. They're robust. They do a good job tracking heart rate and distance and other things like this. So obviously there are many features that Garmin has that are just terrific, which is obviously why people use Garmin watches and like them so much. And they're actually cool, especially in this day and age when everybody and their dog has an Apple Watch and there's nothing unique about it. The Garmin watches are obviously much more distinct, and so it's kind of much cooler, right? That said, it doesn't change the fact that there is one fundamental capability that is missing from Garmin watches, and that is the ability to make and receive cellular calls natively on the watch. And today in 2023, I'm beginning to think that this is something that is becoming increasingly necessary. And especially for us who like to go out there and like to exercise, whether it's running and going to the gym, without having to bring your phone with you, but still being able to stay connected so that your loved ones can reach you if something happens, so that you can call if for some reason you need some assistance, without once again needing to drag your phone around. And just to be clear, I'm not looking to use a Garmin watch the way people use their Apple watches, sort of like 24/7 texting and emailing and phone calls and whatnot. I'm really talking about much more limited usage in terms of when someone really needs to get hold of you, or you need to get hold of someone and you're out and about without needing to have your phone around. And so a much more limited plan would be quite useful, but that still requires the watch to have a cellular radio, to have a mic and a speaker, and obviously quality that works. Now, I appreciate that right now most Garmin users apparently use iPhones, and the Apple APIs that allow Apple smartwatches to sort of do single number calling and all of this are locked up, and there is probably zero probability that Apple is going to make those available to Garmin, because why would they? So clearly a Garmin watch that has cellular phone connectivity would need a separate number, but I actually think that that is just fine, because forwarding your iPhone to another number, whether it's your watch or something else, is really straightforward. You just go into settings, cellular, and then you forward it. And it's sort of a child's play, and then when you're back, you can unforward it, so it really shouldn't be much of an issue. Interestingly enough, Garmin has certainly taken some baby steps in this direction. I think we've seen that on a couple of different phones. So, as you probably know, the Forerunner 955 LTE has a cellular radio, but it doesn't have a mic and it doesn't have a speaker. And so all you can really do on it is to connect to the Garmin Rescue Center via texting. And, the problem I have with that is that, first of all, texting isn't calling, but more importantly, most of us probably don't need to connect to the Garmin Rescue Center. If we're going to use cellular capabilities, cellular connectivity, it's much more likely because we want to connect with our loved ones or something else that's going on, or maybe an emergency service. And so for that reason, being able to connect to Garmin's Rescue Center is, quite frankly, of limited use, I would like to think, to most people. They've also come up with a Venue 2, which has a speaker and a mic, but doesn't have a cellular radio. And so it relies on your phone's radio to sort of actually make the connection. And once again, to do that, you need to bring your phone with you, and that's what I'm trying to avoid here. So that doesn't do it either. Now, Garmin just came out with the Forerunner 965, which is once again a terrific watch, but disappointingly enough, it doesn't have a radio, it doesn't have a speaker, it doesn't have a mic. So no progress on that front, although it obviously has a beautiful screen. So, once again, not obvious to me what Garmin is doing. I have zero insight. But from a product perspective, what's on the market right now, I don't see much progress here, and find that, quite frankly, a little bit disappointing, because I think from a competitive user perspective, Garmin really needs to start providing this capability. Now, there are obviously three issues that they would need to tackle and will need to tackle to make this happen. The first one is that a cellular radio, a mic, and a speaker obviously take up some real estate on the watch and add weight, and clearly that's an engineering challenge that has to be overcome. They also obviously use power, and so maintaining Garmin's legendary multi-day, multi-week battery power while providing cellular connectivity is another challenge that they have to address. And finally, they will obviously need to reach some kind of agreements with cellular carriers, or at least one cellular carrier, to make sure that people can get a separate number at an affordable price, sort of like $5-10 maybe a month, as opposed to a whole new number at the regular price, which really probably doesn't make the economics work for most people. So one way or another, they need to negotiate with cellular carriers to make that happen. But once again, that shouldn't really be impossible. And so hopefully Garmin is working on these three issues, and we'll get one of these phones sooner rather than later at an affordable price. But right now, as far as I'm concerned, that is a fatal flaw for Garmin watches that I'm really concerned about, quite frankly, from a Garmin competitive perspective. Maybe more than Garmin is themselves, but then again, this is my channel and my opinion, so there you go. And now I want to hear from you. What do you folks think? Would you like to have cellular phone calling capabilities natively on your Garmin watches? Would you use it? When would you want to use it? And how important is that to you? Let us know in the comments below. And in the meantime, thanks for watching. Be well, and we'll talk to you soon. Take good care. Bye-bye.